am Floor Master Lucas DeRuyter, and today I'm joined with the man who can only be reached through telepathy, smoke signal, and ravens, Andrew Clark. How you doing, Andrew?
My phone's broken.
Do you want to tell the folks at home why you're better than them for not having a phone? Do you want to tell the people listening to this on their phone why you not having a phone right now gives you the moral high ground?
I feel like a caveman. I feel separated from society. And honestly, I'm pretty sure that the stories that they've told us in history, during a time period where people didn't have phones, I'm pretty sure that's all made up. That it's all some sort of conspiracy. People had phones 2,000 years ago. How would they have survived? It doesn't make any sense.
Do you ever wonder how much more bored people were even like 60 years ago?
I'm pretty sure that most people's hobbies must have been like thinking 400 years ago. Like they would do their job, which I'm sure took longer back then. They would go to work, they'd work in a field or work in their trade, even to the point of working in like a factory, like 100 years ago. Like I'm pretty sure like that took up most of their day. Then they'd eat and they'd probably like spend some time with their family, but I'm pretty sure like what they did in their free time was think. There's no way that they did anything other than just sit there and be like, I wonder what this is like.
Yeah, because before the internet, or even before widely distributed books or anything like that, you would see maybe like one picture in your entire life of, I don't know, let's say Paris. Or get even crazier, like Japan. You see like one picture of Japan, and in the back, oh yeah, that's what the entire country.
Yeah, no, there's got to be like 50 Eiffel Towers in Paris, like alone, because I've seen that one picture. That those things must be everywhere. Those like they're trees.
And that wasn't just one guy. That was the majority of people.
Yeah.
In what at the time would have been the majority of the rural country of America.
I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe we're being kind of insulting.
Maybe
thinking that like people back then were just fucking idiots, but at the same time, they also like shat in buckets and threw it in the street. So, a little give and take.
The toys that they played with were circular pieces of wood that they hit with a stick.
Or minorities.
Oh! I liked how we were gradually progressing further back in time without saying anything. And then the minority thing brought it right back to like the late 80s or mid 90s.
Yesterday.
Yeah. Oof. But
that's not what we're here to talk about today.
That's actually a great introduction into what we're talking about today. We have so much more shit to distract us now.
Yeah. And the shit that distracts us from the complexities and horrors of everyday life can all be found in San Diego Comic-Con.
And the other similar events going on today as well. As we are in the dog days of the summer, still not a ton of stuff going on that'll be of interest. By the time this episode comes out, Rick and Morty will be out, so that'll be entertaining to me at least. But, yeah, a lot of the bigger companies talking about what their plans are for the future. And I think the best one to start out with, the one that we're probably going to get the most debate about, is the recent Walking Dead trailer. Andrew, what did you think?
I thought it was a little bit more upbeat, a little bit more positive than like a lot of the trailers. Comic-Con has always been like a big attraction, a big thing that people talk about.
Right.
Even as the show has, and I think you would agree with me, even as the show has declined in the last 2 years, like the trailer for at Comic-Con has been like a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
And this year, I think instead of the like brooding sort of like despairing, scary sort of trailers that have been there in the past, it was more upbeat, still violent for sure, but
right.
Like it was like there was a lot of William Wallace style speeches being given about like freedom and fighting back and all that sort of shit. As spoiler alert, the war between the saviors and all the other people in The Walking Dead are going on. But I think there's two things that people are going to like get worked up about. One, I mean, maybe this is just me. The beginning of the trailer starts out with the priest stuck in a room, and you can see that there's like zombies everywhere outside. And Negan walks in, and he's like, "I hope you're wearing your shitting pants." And then he's just like, "You're shitting pants. I hope you're wearing them because you're gonna shit your pants." And I thought that was just the dumbest line.
Before I'd seen the trailer, you described that scene to me, and I thought you were trying to make it out to be like, yeah, this is like a cool thing. And I was just like, I don't see any way that this could possibly be good.
No, that was a really dumb line. I didn't try to make you think that, or I wasn't trying to make you think that it was cool, because it is not.
Somebody, well, unless it's the actor ad-libbing, which I doubt that if he was ad-libbing they would have let that in there. So like a writer put pen to paper and decided, yep, this is the dialogue in the scene that's gonna...
As bad as that is, though, it is not as bad as the line from Game of Thrones last week with the foreign invasion is beginning. I digress, though. That line is stupid. That line in particular makes me a little bit worried about the show, because I'm afraid that the writing's going to be bad. Excuse me. But I think the thing that people are going to get freaking out about, which from what I hear they are, the very end of the trailer ends with a shot of Rick laying in a white bed. He looks old. He's got like gray hair. He's got like a kind of longer beard. His hair, the hair on his head is kind of shaved close. So it looks like he's like 20 years older than
So you think we're finally going to get to the time skip?
Yeah, I mean that would be the easier assumption to make. The only thing is that like, how are you going to make the entire cast look older?
Well, for some of them, they've been doing a lot to
Make
age
them
down the characters.
Yeah, that's true.
Goddamn, Carl is a man now.
Yeah, that's true.
He is.
They could probably like actually cast his daughter Judith as an actor now. That'll be exciting. But like, most people think it's a time skip, because I think that's what happens next in the storyline. The comics, I don't know, I haven't read them. There's a few people out there that are really worried that it is the fan theory that has been going on ever since basically the start of the show.
Oh, coma dream?
That the entire apocalypse has been a coma dream of like Rick Grimes, and that like that was him waking up from the dream. But like, probably not. I'd say there's only about a 1% chance that's what it is.
Okay, I would pick the show back up if it turned out that like the past 6, if it were the amount of balls it would take for The Walking Dead to do that is unfathomable to me. That would be just crazy enough to get me, who's
that it turns back into a buddy cop show where like Rick and Shane just go back on their beat as cops in Atlanta.
Or something, yeah.
Rick has to deal with zombie PTSD.
Yeah. I think that's the shake-up The Walking Dead desperately needs.
No. I think you're, like, in the far minority, like, saying that, like, that is what would make you pick the show back up, when probably almost the entire viewer base would drop the show if that's what happened.
But wouldn't that still be something?
It would be something.
Wouldn't that be...
That would be a feat of television.
That would be a cliff note in every... That would be a paragraph in every textbook about television for conceivably, like, the history of mankind.
Honestly, that is probably the biggest plot twist in a show I can think of, other than what we talked about last week, the fan theory that absolutely no one believes, including myself. It's a stupid theory, but like, the only thing bigger than that, I think, would be the theory that all of Game of Thrones is taking place within a Westworld-esque theme park. Because I'm sorry, but if Anthony Hopkins walked up to Jon Snow and said cease all motor functions and he froze, I would piss myself.
I want that to be an SNL skit. I want that because they've gotten actors from Game of Thrones on there. They've had them be in character.
That would be really good.
And that's actually a great segue into Westworld. But my closing thoughts on Game of Thrones, not Game of Thrones, The Walking Dead. I'm glad that the tone seems to be a little different, if only because I just got the sense that the writers were so bored with kind of what has become the status quo in the past 2-3 seasons. So a shake would probably be good for the show, probably make everybody a lot more enthusiastic, a lot more happy to be there. And if I had to guess what that Rick waking up scene was, maybe it's going to be a kind of a callback to the fact that this all started out with him being in a coma.
It's obviously a homage to the scene in episode 1, season 1, where he wakes up in the hospital. It's obviously a callback to that, but like it's gotta just be a time skip. Like a 10-15 year time skip.
That being said, though, and one last question I want to pose to you before we move on to Westworld. How many more seasons do you think The Walking Dead has left? Because they are rapidly catching up to the source material.
Yeah, and I mean, The Walking Dead has gone on for a long time, and a friend of ours, Ryan, who's been on the podcast before, has talked about how he's heard rumors that the writers have written, like, proposal scripts through, like, the next 10 seasons. That they have just, like, basically shat out a future of the show, and, like, it could go on forever.
It shouldn't.
It absolutely should not. I think that this is the 8th season.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, like if this was the last season of the show, I think that would be best. It's not going to be, because otherwise they would have said the final season of AMC's The Walking Dead.
Oh, because that's so much better marketing. Yeah.
Right. But like I think that the storyline with Negan and the Saviors, if they finished that up, I think that would be the perfect end for the television show. I know that the comic has gone way past that. There's a whole bunch of stuff they could draw on, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to keep going. I think the show should end this season, but it's not going to. I think, honestly, if it doesn't end now, I get 2 seasons. Enough time to finish up one more story arc.
Big story arc,
big story arc, and then be done. And, like, I think that's what they should do, because otherwise we're going to be in season 16 of The Walking Dead. No one's going to watch it.
No one's having fun.
And I'm going to be really upset, because it was a show that I really enjoyed for a good 6.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
7 years was not... the 7th season wasn't great. But, like, yeah, you know?
Because
like, it's going to wear itself out. All TV shows that keep going for a long time do. Except for, like, maybe MASH.
I was going to say Seinfeld, actually. Seinfeld is the one... I know you don't care, but that's, like, the one show where I'm like, yeah, season 10, they were still hitting it as strong as they were in, like, season 2. But, yeah, I actually thought for the longest time that the time skip that was in the comics, that the show, once the show caught up to that, maybe they have, like, half an episode, or just even the ending of an episode is... You know, after the time skip, everybody's, like, kind of...
Living their lives.
Like, the characters we want to be in relationships are in relationships with people, and it kind of ends on this just hopeful, like, this is what happens if you keep persevering note.
That, like, there's a life worth living sort of thing.
Right, which is very much what The Walking Dead at its core is about.
Right.
It's like keeping going by whatever means necessary to find some kind of happiness at the end.
Right.
But
and I agree. Like, I think that's how it should end. Unfortunately, I think we both know it's not going to end on a good note. It's probably going to keep going until it dies. Slow, painful death.
Maybe if Fear the Walking Dead picks up enough traction, they'll shift resources into that.
I've never seen it.
I hear it's not.
I've heard it's good.
Okay.
I've heard that season 1 wasn't great, but then the last... I don't know, is it on season 3 or 4 or something like that?
Whoa, I thought it was season 2 maybe, but
no,
I've just ignored that show. So,
I think season 4 starts soon. I heard that like the last 2 seasons were as good as anything in The Walking Dead, but that's just from people that I know that have seen it. not from any professional.
All right.
But yeah,
Something to keep an eye on at least, yeah.
yeah. Let's move into another show that's not Game of Thrones that involves grizzled people shooting shit.
You and I are excited for this next season for entirely different reasons, I think.
We're talking about Westworld, people.
Westworld, the show that desperately wants to be Game of Thrones.
I've heard you talk shit about Westworld recently, and when we were both watching it, when it was actually on, like when it was airing, you were losing your mind just as much as I was. You thought it was amazing, just like I did.
Maybe I'm getting a little more cynical. Maybe now that there's not as much immediacy.
I think you just think it's cool to bash on Westworld because everybody likes it.
A nerd part of me really really dug the robots and all that shit, but I'm excited because this season they're probably going to get into some of the other parks, Samurai World.
There was a fucking tiger.
There's a tiger.
I don't know what world that is where there's a tiger, but
Game of Thrones world. Hopefully,
there's not going to be a Game.
There's going to be a fantasy world, and there's going to be a nudge, nudge, wink, wink moment.
I'm sure there's going to be a fantasy world at some point, and I'm sure that they're going to have some sort of reference to Game of Thrones, but there isn't going to be like fucking Sean Bean in there.
I feel like he'd be up for it though.
He needs work.
He always dies after a couple episodes. It's hard to get consistent pay on that. Also, I have the feeling that this season will start exploring the future world.
Is Future World another park?
I would actually love that if this was near future's version of the further future. But no, they'll probably start exploring the world outside of the park. But what I am most excited for is punished Venom Snake Old Man McPoyle.
Oh my God, Ed Harris. I mean, like the little bit of a smile at the end of the trailer, just that little bit. He's like, I got exactly what I wanted.
No, he's like a kid.
In a bloody massacring family
candy shop, yeah. And it.
I mean, the robot uprising is in full swing. People are, like, you saw the trailer, there's just bodies hitting the floor like it's fucking drowning pools.
Yeah.
And Ed Harris is excited. Punished Man in Black is excited.
I wonder if we do get more of his origin story, though.
Last season, like, that was his entire origin story.
But, like, I really like that actor. Like, the guy who plays McPoyle. And I'm sorry, I don't know his actual name, but like, he was surprisingly good.
He was a good actor. Like, it shouldn't have been. Giving his previous acting history.
No,
but he was good.
He nailed that shit.
He gave a really good performance.
Which is why I'd like to see more of him. And whether that's, I don't know, they bring him back as a cyborg or something, like they build that as like a helper character for Ed Harris as he is slaughtering robots left and right, or it's even more of how he became the Man in Black. But yeah, I hope they keep that actor into the fold.
Yeah, I feel like there'll probably be a few like flashback type things, but I'm guessing he's not going to be a regular. But yeah, you got the dune buggies and shit like that. One thing I didn't like in the trailer is that they kind of revealed part of a cliffhanger from last season.
I don't know to what you're referring.
Do you remember how there was the security guard guy? I think his first name is Shannon. Like, security guard guy, like stockier, buff guy with blonde hair.
Oh yeah. He was like the go-to security. Yeah, he was like the commanding guy.
Yeah, he went out searching for the like female like scientist lady.
That gone missing. Yep.
Yeah, who had gone missing, and then he got like hit in the back of the head by an Indian host.
Yeah.
And that, or like they put him in a chokehold or something, and it looked like they were about to kill him. In the trailer, he's just riding around in one of those dune buggies with Bernard. I
hadn't noticed that.
Yeah.
So, okay, that can be. All right.
I mean, like, again, literally everyone in the show could be a robot. We don't know. They could have like killed him and put a robot version in his place. He could have been a robot before, and the real version of him escaped.
Oh, I
There could
don't.
be 10 of him. Just I don't fucking know.
Okay, that would actually be cool to me.
If there was just a bunch of one person.
Yeah, that would. If
Like,
there's
they're clones. Like no, they're mass produced.
That'd be cool, and I feel like they could do some great cinematography with something like that. But I don't know how many more polls they can do on this person you thought was human was actually a robot, because and not to spoil anything for anybody listening, but the reveal they had the first season was so good that I don't think they could ever top that.
Yeah, no. They probably won't ever have a reveal that big.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing that they're probably not going to have like big characters being revealed as hosts. There might be something where like it turns out that like large portions of the staff are robots, and it doesn't really, and it becomes like a whole like traitor sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like spies and shit like that. Like that could work. I don't think they're going to have like really big characters being revealed as hosts.
All right.
I would be really okay with Anthony Hopkins coming back as a host. Just
I
'cause
don't think they have the money anymore.
I know, just he's such a good actor. Like he gives such a good performance. Like the show is not going to be the same without him. It's bigger than its actors, but Anthony Hopkins brings so much to the table.
Any predictions for season 2? I know I listed a couple. I'll throw one more out that I feel as though Bernard is going to be interacting with Anthony Hopkins' characters, the younger version of himself.
The 10-year-old version.
Yeah, that's they can probably get a lot of good stuff out of that, and I hope they introduce that dynamic more.
Yeah, they probably could. That's a good one. It looks like Bernard teams up with like the park people against the robots, which is kind of weird. I'm going to predict that. Oh, I just had a prediction. I forgot it. I'm going to predict that Teddy betrays. God, what's her name?
Dolores.
I almost said Bernadette for some reason. I don't know. But like because in the trailer they were riding side by side, just shooting people in the back like it's nobody's business. But at the end of the first season, even though he was shooting people because he was pretty much programmed to, he was obviously not okay with it.
Yep.
He was just like, Dolores, why are you murdering these people? Why is this happening? And then like when they showed the flashback of the original like host massacre,
no, he was
like,
equally not okay with it.
Yeah, like
then,
he was
too.
doing it. He was like almost crying. He's like, Dolores, what's happening? He's like shooting people, and he's like, he doesn't know what's like going on.
That's gonna be a really interesting dynamic as well.
And I'm guessing that he's going to be like, pro robot freedom, but like anti murder everybody. And I'm guessing that like either Dolores is gonna have him killed, or he's gonna like abandon them and join the humans, something like that. And like I say killed, I mean like I'm guessing because they're the ones that are putting the robots back together, because there's no way that the park people are going to be fixing the dead robots.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that they're just gonna kill him, and he's going to be actually dead because they just won't repair him.
Or maybe we think he's dead, and then he has that cool like the scar on one side of his face, and then the red glowing robot Teddy.
You want him to be Terminator?
I want that. Yes, I want Teddy to get Terminator face, and I know by the logic of the show, how they've explained it, it can't happen
because they're fleshy and like they're like basically biological.
Right. But that is iconic enough, and that is cool enough that I really want that to happen.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that would be awesome. Once, like the whole like getting shot in the face and then turning around and seeing the metal face and the glowing eye would be really cool, and then get real old.
Yeah. Oh, like, not to mention how much time and resources would go into that.
Yeah.
Speaking of time and resources, that was a great segue into
great segues.
Great segue. Give us money.
It's a great Vespa.
A great segue into some of the DC stuff that's come out recently. Have you heard about this?
Nope, I've abandoned DC. I'm gonna see Wonder Woman, and I'm not gonna see anything else by DC. I'm not gonna watch their trailers. I'm not gonna be involved in that. I know that they're doing reshoots for Justice League.
This relates to that.
Okay.
A part of the reshoots involves the actor playing Superman, Henry
Cavill.
I was gonna say Cable, but I always mispronounce it.
Or I don't. Maybe I'm mispronouncing it.
Henry Cavill. He was contracted and working for another project. I believe he's playing a bad guy in, I want to say a Bond movie, but that's probably not right. And his contract to working on that other movie requires him to have a mustache. So, in all of these Justice League reshoots, and in footage that is actually going to make the movie, Superman is going to have his mustache CGI removed.
Oh my god!
Yes.
Oh my god! That's the best thing in the world. That is fucking DC movies for you.
Yep.
Because I mean, like, God, from what I really wanted to see Wonder Woman, and I never got time. And I hear that it's just really good. How do they have that, and then before that have Batman versus Superman and Suicide Squad, and after that have this fucking what's it called, like Justice League bullshit?
Well,
like how can they like go bad, pretty good, bad again?
Well, I hate to say this because of everything that the Snyder family is going through right now, but it's because that nobody involved in any of the other DC movies was involved in Wonder Woman. The writers, the directors. I'm blanking on the woman who plays Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot. She is the only common thread between all of those.
Okay.
That and Warner Brothers, but that's what's up. And
that's sad.
The other DC news is that the Flash.
Oh, the Flash movie.
Flashpoint.
It's like the Flash movie is just going to be the Flashpoint storyline.
Which that's how they're going to fix the DC extended universe.
They're going to make it so it never happened.
Yep.
You're
gonna all the rumors about Ben Affleck not wanting to be Batman anymore. That's how they're gonna write him out of it.
Because it's gonna be someone else being Batman.
Yep. Everything about how this universe is too dark, the tones aren't right. This is gonna give them a chance to redo all of that.
Yeah, God.
And
they're literally gonna make it so it never happened.
Good, kind of, but not really. But also, I'm fine with them writing themselves out of it. And my only wish for the Flashpoint movie is that the Flash is also affected by it, and it's Grant Gustinson, however you pronounce his last name, I'm sorry, from the Flash TV show. He is Cinematic Universe Flash now.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
Because he should have been from the beginning, but
yeah,
whatever. And then moving right along to other superhero news, Thor Ragnarok got a new trailer.
Looks good.
I'm on board.
Me too. I didn't like either of the other Thor movies at all, but this looked real good.
This one, there was a meeting sometime early on in production, maybe storyboarding or something, where somebody said, okay, every scene in this movie is either going to look like a heavy metal album cover, a Led Zeppelin album cover, or any scene from an anime. And from what I've seen in the trailers, yeah, that is accurate. That is accurate, and I am on board.
Yeah, because it looks good, and it looks awesome. It looks badass. It looks funny, too. Like honestly, I didn't think either of the Thor movies were funny. I know that was what they were going for, because of, like, Thor sort of like, I don't know what Earth people are like. Like, that was the whole shtick. And, like, people thought that was funny. This movie looks actually funny.
This is... Thor and Bruce Banner fucking buddy copying their way through the universe to kill literal death.
Yeah.
Is going to be amazing.
Yeah. I agree. Black Panther looks really good. You saw the trailer, right?
Yeah.
Looks dope.
Never would I have expected a Marvel property or even larger a Disney property to feature an all black cast, but I'm game.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
Black good guy, black bad guy, black everybody in between. Couple of white people in there. I saw the South African guy with one arm, and like I'm okay with the South Africans, like the white South Africans being the bad guys.
That's accurate.
Yeah.
That's accurate to the larger portion of history.
Yeah. It looks very out there. It looks like it's gonna bring in a lot of different like cultural sort of stuff. Even if they're like making up a lot of this culture because it's a made up country.
Well, there's still influences, but yeah.
Right. I don't know. I think it looks good. I think it looks original. I think it looks awesome. Like I'm gonna go see it, and it's gonna be really cool.
Just speaking to the costumes and the atmosphere and everything, it kind of reminds me of Overwatch, you know?
Yeah, you're right. Like
a
bit
bit
right.
less campy Overwatch.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a great aesthetic for a Marvel movie tackling like this kind of subject matter.
A lot of people had like really weird looking weapons and cool outfits and masks and shit. Like they were jumping all around doing stuff. Like it looks really cool. Did you hear about the another thing that was released at San Diego Comic-Con? The Marvel's Avengers 1 million BC?
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
what is that?
They are like Marvel is making a line of comic books, cause like they ended the what's it called, the Hidden Empire thing. I think that was with Captain America being a Hydra member.
Okay, good that they ended it.
Making another like they made Marvel Legacy, like they're starting Marvel Legacy, which is another like Avengers comic, but they're making, and it's like superheroes million years ago. And like all they've done is like released a couple of promo images from like the artist of the comic. And it's like the Avengers if they were cavemen, basically. And like some of them have different names, some of them look really similar. But like there is a Black Panther, and Black Panther is just a black guy wearing a fucking panther skin. And there's a guy that looks just like what's it called? Doctor Strange. But like with a loincloth and like kind of a cape and wearing deer antlers. Phoenix, just regular Phoenix is there. With slightly different clothes. And then Odin, like Thor's father, is another one of them. God, where were the other ones? Ghost Rider. They didn't show a picture of him, so I'm guessing Ghost Rider's gonna like ride a horse or like a wolf or some shit like that.
Whatever caveman rode.
Yeah. I don't know.
Triceratops. Velociraptor.
You're getting your time periods mixed up a little bit.
I would
But how can there be a Marvel 1 million BC if the Earth has only been around for 6,000 years?
I am. This sounds just absurd enough that I might pick it up.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
And then well, speaking of absurdity, this wasn't any. As far as I'm aware, this isn't a new trailer, but it's new to me, new to us, so I'm going to bring it up anyway. I recently saw the trailer for Dave Made a Maze. I think an indie film, yeah?
Yeah.
That's coming out. I think it's making the rounds or made the rounds at probably
film festivals, that sort of thing.
Probably, hopefully, this is a Netflix or some kind of release in the near future. Because I really want to see it.
It looks absurd.
This is like a dumb idea stretched as far as it possibly could be, and it seems to be really well executed, really good. Check it out. Might put a link to it in the video here or something, but it is essentially impossible cardboard maze in his apartment.
It's like the size of a refrigerator box, but then you go inside of it and it's huge. It's just an absurd concept that doesn't make any sense. And
like Harry, and then this guy's girlfriend, she comes back home after being away from a weekend. She freaks out a little bit that is seemingly insane inside this refrigerator box. Her filmmaker, ex-boyfriend or something shows up to record this kind of like person they all know having a mental breakdown, and then they like force their way inside of the maze despite Dave's warnings, and it actually is bigger on the inside with all kinds of machinations and traps,
Yeah.
and they're just gonna get to one part of the maze and it's gonna be an MC Escher painting, isn't it?
I'm sure. Like it has to be. It looks really good. Another trailer that everyone was talking about was Ready Player One, which
Yeah.
it looked like it was kind of. It looks. I don't know. Everyone freaked out and thought it was the coolest thing ever just because like the Iron Giant was in there.
And a DeLorean.
And a DeLorean, and I think like an orc from Warcraft. I don't know. I don't play Warcraft.
Nobody plays Warcraft. It's World of Warcraft.
Shut
now.
up.
I read the book, Ready Player One.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
You
when
read
I
it?
was 16.
Okay.
Thought it was pretty good when I was 16. Now that I'm 22 and kind of looking back at some of it, I've read some captured quotes, captured pages online. It's definitely not for me anymore. It comes off as a little douchey now than what it did when I was 16. And I thought it was just like, oh yeah, this is nerd stuff. But Steven Spielberg is involved in that.
Steven Spielberg.
Spielberg.
Let me tell you what this movie's about.
He's involved, and I think that'll definitely help it because he is the nostalgia director. Like, he is good at taking like an idea or a concept from people's childhoods and turning it into a full movie, or even just establishing people's childhoods with his movies. So if he plays around with the source material, I think it'll be at the very least a passable movie.
So the plot of the movie is that the Earth is so crowded that people literally can't go anywhere. So they have like VR headsets that let them play games and have fun.
The plot of the movie is that in the future, the world is just so shitty and mishandled that everyone just spends the majority of their time in an MMO virtual reality video game that is created by this guy who grew up in the 80s, is kind of obsessed with like stuff from the 80s culture, and a lot of that is kind of permeated into the video game. About to sound real nerdy, but a lot like Sword Art Online.
Okay.
Except people aren't actually trapped in the video game, and
They just want to be.
Yep, and logging into the video game doesn't shut off their real bodies either, which I thought that should have been changed for the movie, honestly.
Because like there's people like in these virtual reality spaces doing shit.
Yeah. There's even a part in the trailer where it's like these people are suspended while wearing like the virtual reality helmet and
So that they
gloves
move
and stuff.
around and shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't bump into stuff. Whereas I thought it would have been, and this should have been in the book too, where it's just like you put the helmet on and then that turns your nervous system off and you are in the video game.
Yeah.
That would have been a better way to do it. And one change I do hope they make in the movie from the book, a little bit of spoiler alert. At the end of the book, the main character kid essentially wins the video game. Like, he gets to the end, he's at the top of the leaderboard, and the avatar of the guy who made the video game gives him what is essentially the keys to the place. The master key, he can go anywhere, do anything, change anything. This is his reality to play around with. And as he's given that key, the avatar of the guy who created the place also says to him, or you can just turn it off. You can turn off this game that people escape to from the shitty real world. And the kid's like, no, this place is awesome. Like, this place needs to exist for people. Whereas me looking back at it now, I would have liked the book and its ending a lot better if he had decided to end it, like turn off the game with the kind of reasoning that, no, we need to fix the real world before we can have this fantasy world.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought that would have been better, and I hope that change is made in the movie. And I guess we're kind of coming up on time. One last thing I did want to talk about, though. Did you hear anything about the Disney Expo that recently happened? I think it was a little bit before Comic-Con.
No, I did not.
It was called D23.
D23.
D23,
Yeah,
yeah.
I heard it was happening. I just didn't watch it.
Is that what's called D23, or is it like
I'm not
Okay.
sure.
So 2 big announcements, as far as I care, coming out of this one. The first one is that Toy Story is going to be a level in the upcoming game Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, I heard that.
And that caused a lot of internet people to be like, yeah, I want to see a Toy Story 2.5 when it shows Andy as a 16-year-old and he's really into Japanese anime and has a bunch of figurines and shit. A bunch of Final Fantasy figurines and shit, and that's how they get the Final Fantasy characters into this game. And I thought that was
You
funny.
can't see me, but I'm shaking my head.
And I thought that was entertaining. Probably make a terrible movie, though. But the other big news is that Disney is working on Star Wars park. Like, we had heard rumors, but now it's actually being followed through with.
I mean, I thought it was always being followed through with.
Well, now we have, like, more concepts and stuff
Okay.
behind it. And essentially, it's like a park with its own hotels and all of that. Like, the living spaces and everything. And you get there, and you're immediately signed up for a faction. Like a Star Wars faction. And like
Okay.
everything, you can do stuff there, like go on rides, take place in games, and then that helps your faction. And then during your week or however long you're spending
Is
in...
this a mobile game?
No, there's going to be like a mobile component like of this experience that like you go to different parts of the park or you do different things, and then that like helps your faction or like helps your like the like character you become when you're at like that part.
Do you
that
get
person
to
in
choose?
Disney World.
Because I have a feeling that not very many people are going to choose the dark side.
I don't think it works like that. I hope it doesn't work like that, but I guess I'm a little bit excited for it or find it interesting because Star Wars is like a whole massive universe, but in any of the movies or TV shows, you only really ever see like essentially the Jedis or what like the like version of the Jedis are at this part of Star Wars history. And so then the extended universe covers like the different groups of people, and some of the games get into like just how people make a living in this universe, and that was always kind of neat to me. But this sounds really cool. It's like a theme park idea, but also kind of terrifying because for it to be implemented in any way that they're describing, they're going to have to like track people everywhere they go while they're in the theme park and be synced up with their phones and have cameras on them 24/7.
Yeah. Disney.
Probably have Roombas riding around spying on people.
Honestly, yeah. And they just make them look like those weird little squeaky toy droids that you saw in one scene in A New Hope.
The mini AT-ATs, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that just about brings it to an end for us on this episode of the Fourth Floor Features podcast. Anything you want to close on that we didn't have a chance to talk about or bring up?
I miss my phone.
Oh, by the way, if you stick around this long, I called myself Floor Master at the beginning because when my phone did not break, my bed broke this week. Not in the fun way. Just have a bed that folds out of the wall, and it broke. And it's fixed as of recording this right now. Haven't slept in it yet. I hope it's amazing. But yeah, I was on couch cushions on the floor for a couple of days there and not having a fun time.
Sorry, bro.
It's okay. It's all better now. And this is going to fix everything wrong in my life.
I'm sure it will.
Let us know in the comments down below if this fixes everything that's wrong in my life. Thanks for listening, guys. See you next week.